First of all, welcome to our yin class tonight. I was thinking today, like, what do I want to do as in a little theme for our class tonight? And I thought, coming Sunday, there's a new moon coming up again. So we're kind of getting ourselves into this new moon energy again. And if you're a little bit into the moon cycles, you know a tiny little bit about it, then you may know that the new moon energy is very powerful when it comes to releasing stuff, letting go of things that are no longer serving us anymore, whether that's a feeling, an emotion, a thought, anything. And it also is the moment to, like the name says, the new moon, to set new intentions for the new month, the new cycle to come. So that's going to be our theme for today. We are going to begin in a wide-legged child's pose. So you're going to make your way onto your mat. You're probably already there anyways. And you're going to bring your knees out as wide as your mat and bring your big toes together to touch. And sinking your hips down. And you have options here. So if you know already that that's going to be heavy onto the hips here, you may want to grab a cushion or a block to either slide underneath the hips to just elevate those hips a little bit, or you may keep it a little bit further in the front so you can rest your chest and your belly onto it at some point. And slowly starting to walk your hands out forwards, resting the forehead down onto the mat. And taking your time to settle in there, to find this pose and to find a way, kind of, or a spot where you feel comfortable enough to settle in and to be for a while. Because you guys know it, but yin is a practice where we definitely take longer holds. Anything between 3 and 6 minutes. So for every pose, really trying to get yourself into a place where you feel I can be here for a while. Finding your edge, but not going too deep. So wiggle around as much as you need to until you find that comfortable place where you do find your edge. And then find your stillness. And just start to breathe here. Forehead is touching the earth. Allowing your body to get heavy. Your mind to arrive on your mat. Letting go of anything that happened today. Leaving behind any thoughts around work. Or anything else that came up for you today. Becoming really conscious of the space that you're in. The sounds around you. The smells. noticing the touch of the air on your skin. What does the temperature feel like? Giving yourself really permission to come into your body, get out of your mind, and just be. And with that permission, allowing yourself to feel every sensation of every pose into that physical body. And allowing it to touch upon your emotional body too, your energetic body. And that's your challenge for today. If you're not that familiar with yin, yin is not challenging when it comes to endurance or strength or power. It's in the mind. Allowing your mind to let go, to surrender, and your body will follow. And that's why we hold these poses for so long, to give your body time to settle into that mode of release, of surrender. So with that new moon energy coming around, think about maybe something that's been coming up for you recently, a thought, a feeling that has not been serving you, that's been bothering you, make you feel insecure or angry, whatever it is. And consciously bring that thought or feeling into your mind's eye, or just feel it into your body, however you can visualize or feel it. And then with every exhale, you imagine yourself letting go into that a little bit more. Releasing that thought or that feeling bit by bit. We'll take another 3 breaths here. Let it go. And at the end of your 3rd breath, very gently lift your forehead off the mat. Start to press into your hands, walking the hands back up towards your body. Keeping the legs as they are if you can. And you're going to plant your hands straight away behind you, fingers facing forwards. And now from here, take a deep breath in to lift your chest up, your heart open, and lift your hips away from your heels just for a moment. Take a deep breath in. Gentle press into your palms, and with your exhale, soften the hips back down. Just opening those hips into the other direction. I'm going to do that a few times, flowing with your breath. So take an inhale to lift up, open the chest, open the front side of the hips. Exhale to lower. Very soft and mindful movement. Inhale up. Deep breath. Exhale. One more. Inhale, bring it up. And exhale, hips down. And then slowly start to walk the hands back towards the front here. Bring the knees back into the center. And start to lower your upper body down towards the earth. Straight away onto the belly, picking your favorite cheek here to lay down. Shoot your arms backwards. And rest. We'll be taking these resting poses in between every single pose. It's your rebound, your moment to recharge and actually feel into the effects of every pose. So noticing what's happening into your body after each pose, picking up on the little sensations wherever you may feel them, and giving your body actually time to manifest that little bit of change that we create with each pose. So what do you feel? And then slowly bringing your hands underneath your shoulders so you can press yourself back up again. And from here, sitting the hips to either side so you can bring yourself into a seated, cross-legged position to begin. Now, for our next pose, I would like you to grab either 2 blocks or 2 pillows. It doesn't matter what you're going to use, but you want to have 2 cushions or props. Our next pose is square pose. And in all honesty, this is my least favorite personal pose because it's a really, really deep one into the hip. So when we talk about releasing and letting go, most of the things that we tend to hold on to, they manifest into our hips. So we're doing a lot of work into the hips today. And square is an amazing one for this. So what you're going to do, you're going to take your, actually it doesn't really, okay, let's start with the right leg. So you're going to take your right shin and bring it parallel towards the top of your mat. You're going to flex that right foot and allow the knee to come as far down towards the mat as possible. Now you probably want already one of your blocks or cushions underneath that right knee for support. That's step one, and you want to make sure that that right foot is flexed. Then you're going to take the opposite leg and bring that on top. So the left foot comes either onto the right knee or maybe a little bit further over even. And you want to kind of create this with your shins. So shin stacked on shin. So you're into that square. So that's the shape we're creating. And you probably can see why I do not like this pose very much because my knees are so up high. So I really start to feel this straight away into my glutes, like really, really deeply. So you want to take your other cushion in between, probably if you need it. If you don't, then no worries. Just to support that left knee here as well. Making sure both sitting bones are down onto the earth. And for me, this is already almost enough. I feel this really into my hip joint. I feel this into my glutes. But if you want to go a little bit deeper, I'm going to just encourage you to bring your arms up high to sky to begin. Take a deep breath in to lengthen. And with an exhale, you start to gently lean forwards. Allowing your palms to come down towards the mat, but keeping the fingers soft. Allow your upper body to round, spine rounding. Getting your head heavy, and you are very welcome if you have more cushions to bring one in between your legs and your belly too. Otherwise, just letting gravity bring your upper body down bit by bit. This is quite a deep one. So you want to be mindful here of where you're trying to keep yourself up, where you're holding yourself back. Where can you soften into your legs, your hips, Keeping your attention focused on that release. Releasing into your hips, into your legs, into the upper body, and with that, releasing of that emotion, that thought, whatever it was, letting it go. Bit by bit, peeling off the layers. Just breathe. And if you catch your mind wandering off, just with some kindness, bring your awareness back into your body. Mindfulness doesn't mean that you can't have any thoughts. You can. Our mind is made to think, so that's all it will do all day long. And what makes it mindful is you recognizing yourself getting back into your thoughts over and over again, and being able to bring yourself back into the present moment, into your physical body and the sensations that you're experiencing. We'll take another 3 breaths here. Let go a little more if you can. And at the end of your last breath, slowly walk the hands first back towards the body. And then taking, with some help of your hands, that upper leg off. Plant the foot down. Take your cushions out of the way. Just keep them closed for the next round. Take the other leg and step the foot down. Hands behind you. Just take some windshield wipers. Very slow movement. And notice the sensations into your legs, to your hips. Slowly releasing. And then we'll take it to the other side. So same position, just the other leg on top. So we're going to begin with our left shin down and parallel towards the front of your mat. So really making sure that's not the cross-legged position where it's like a 45-degree angle. You want to try to keep it sort of in a 90-degree. Flexing your left foot, taking the right ankle, bringing it on top, flexing the right foot too, and allowing the sitting bones to sit down and using any cushion to prop you up. You may notice a difference here between left and right, at least I do. This side is even harder. And when you're ready, arms up, inhale. With an exhale, slowly starting to fold forwards, taking your time. And again, just allowing the body to get heavy, to relax, to soften. really giving any emotion or any feeling that comes up here. Just space to be there. Knowing that whatever that is, it's just release. It was stuck somewhere in your body, and now it's coming out. And for me, what comes up in a post like this is so much frustration. So much that feeling of, I want to get out. I don't want to be here. And we find ourselves in situations like that in life too. In a place where you don't want to be. A feeling you don't want to experience, and yet you can't do anything about it. It's out of your control. The only thing you can control is your response. And that's what Yin teaches us. To respond mindfully from a place of presence and awareness. Connection with those feelings. And kindness towards those feelings. Not just pure anger. Or pure frustration and then responding from emotion. Instead, maybe responding from a place of vulnerability. Opening up about what a situation is doing to you, how it makes you feel. Five more breaths. Find the softness, let go into the hips and the legs. Breathe through the belly. And at the end of your last breath, you know the drill, slowly coming back up. Walking the hands towards your body, helping that right foot to come off. Gently step it down. Cushions out of the way. And just again, maybe this time, either take windshield wipers again if you want, but you can also stretch the legs out and just shake them a few times. Lifting the knees, shaking it out, bringing that movement, all that energy back into those legs. And then release. So from here, just starting to roll down onto your back straight away, finding yourself into a mini Shavasana in between your rebound onto your back this time. Every movement you make, try to make it slowly, mindfully. Closing the eyes here. And again, just observing what is happening in your body. And when you're ready, very gently, hugging your knees in towards your chest, rolling over to either side, doesn't matter. So you can press yourself up onto your hands and knees, coming into tabletop. So in tabletop, Hands stacked directly underneath your shoulders. Fingers spread nice and wide, grounding the hands down. Knees underneath your hips. Just starting to flow a little bit through a basic cat and cow. Inhale, lifting your heart, arching the back. Exhale to round the spine. Push the floor away gently, chin to chest. Inhale to arch, open. Exhale to round. And just keep that going, a few more rounds. Being so present with that simple movement. And trying not to stop in between your cat and your cow, your inhale and your exhale. Just keep it one continuous flow of movement and of breath. Feel free if you need to go in any other direction. Allowing your body to just slide through any shape it wants to make. Giving that stagnant energy, that blocked energy, space to move. And for that feeling or thought to slowly leave the body through the palms of your hands. And coming back into center at some point. From here, you're going to take your right foot off the mat and step it forwards in between your hands. Walking the foot maybe even a little further. So you want to have your right knee stacked on top of the right ankle. And then you have options. You can either stay here, allowing your hips to melt forwards and down, or you come up, hands onto your thigh. Just letting them rest. Your upper body is completely soft and relaxed. Shoulders are rolled back and down your spine. And you want to feel the sensation. Using your breath, with an inhale, you kind of lengthen and elevate the body. And with your exhale, you allow your hips to melt deeper down and forwards towards the earth. Maybe you close your eyes if you can keep that balance. And if this is uncomfortable for your knee, feel free to bring a cushion, or you can always flop your mat double as well underneath the knee for some extra cushioning. And I'm using the breath really to gently open up. And with that, I mean every exhale to melt deeper. Feeling the stretch into your left hip flexor and the right hip. Like I said, we're going deep into the hips today. And again, maybe you want to visualize whatever thought or feeling is holding you back these days, is bothering you, and needs to be released. And visualizing it leaving your body, your mind, wherever it's stuck, bit by bit. Three more breaths. And then slowly bring your hands down, framing the front foot. You start to heel toe your right foot over to the left side of your mat. Going for sleeping swan here, the yin variation of your pigeon pose. So for that, you want to bring your shin in probably a 45-degree angle here. Your right knee points towards the upper right corner of your mat. And you start to walk your back foot away from you, melting into your hips here. making sure your hips stay kind of squared, and feel free to bring cushions underneath your right hip if there's a lot of space in between the right hip and the floor. And from there, option to stay exactly where you are if this is enough into the hips, or you start to walk the hands forwards, coming onto the forearms. Noticing how that feels into your hips. Again, we're going to be here for a while, so you want to make sure that we find a place where we can actually hold it, where we feel our edge, tickle it, but not go too far over it. If this comes easy, you have total permission to go all the way down onto your forehead or your chest, or bring a cushion in between your chest and the floor for support. May actually be a really nice way to kind of hold on to something here, giving yourself some comfort. And then again, allowing yourself the stillness. The stillness in the body. And the softness, letting go into your hips, your legs, and your breath. Staying present with your body. Letting go of any bit of tension wherever you can. And that doesn't go all in once, and that's fine. Over time, with every second, your body will release bit by bit. Five more breaths here. And then slowly start to come back up onto your hands. Taking your props out of the way. Sitting down onto that right hip. Grabbing a hold of your back leg and softly slide it forwards. Extending both of your legs out. And rolling back down onto your back. A big hip opener. Or two in a row, actually. So give your body some time to settle. Allowing that energy that we just got moving again that space we opened up to settle into your body. And notice that sensation of new, fresh energy moving around. And gently hugging the knees back into your chest again. And now you want to roll over to the other side, probably. And then slowly sitting yourself back up. Bring the hands forwards again, coming into tabletop again. We're going to take it over to the other side. And feel free, if you just have to shake your hips a few times here, still to do that. And when you're ready, stepping your left foot forwards in between your hands. Stacking left knee on top of your left ankle. Maybe patting the right knee up with a cushion or a double mat. And then option to keep the hands down or bring them onto your left thigh softly. And finding that sensation of melting down to the earth. So instead of being all the way up, allowing it to go all the way forwards and down towards your mat. Gentle pressure into your big left toe to keep your balance. This is one of the few poses in yin where we need to put a tiny bit of effort, engagement of muscles, just to keep ourselves up. Wherever you can, just trying to let go. Maybe closing eyes or keeping your eyelids soft, gazing through your eyelashes. And noticing how those hips want to go deeper and deeper over time. Belly breath that never stops. That breath keeps rippling through the body like an ocean wave. The chest rising and falling. One more deep breath in. And then gently bringing hands down to the mat. Starting to heel toe left foot over to your right side of your mat, bringing the shin down. Sleeping swan. Pointing left knee towards the upper left corner. Walking right foot out and away from you. Melting into hips. And then take, if you can, the same variation as you did on the other side. So you may have come onto your forearms. You may have used cushions underneath hip or chest. Use whatever you need to use. In yin, even if you use 5 pillows, I don't mind. We have props here for a reason, and we really want to be able to let go into our pose. So taking time to find that right position where you can feel I can be here for a while still tickling my edge. And then settle into your stillness. Noticing the difference potentially between left and right. How is this different? What's different in your physical body? And what's different into your emotional body here? And while we slowly are creating space into the body, where we're letting go of the things that aren't serving us, that means there becomes space for new things to come in. And with that new moon energy, what is it that you want to bring in? What have you been longing for? What would help you? What would make you feel better? Can you visualize that into your mind's eye? Three more breaths. And then slowly start to come back up onto your hands. Taking your cushions, blocks out of the way, sinking your left hip down to your mat, grabbing a hold of your right thigh and swing the leg forwards. Feel free to shake the legs out a little bit. And then start to roll back down into your back again. Finding your mini Shavasana, your rebound. Just observe. Get heavy. Full surrender. And then bringing both knees in towards your chest. Hands behind your thighs. A gentle rock and roll over the spine. A few times until you find some momentum to sit up straight, crossing the legs. Bring your hands in front of you. We're going to come back into tabletop once more. Coming into the middle of your mat. Realigning your hands and your knees. And then our next pose is shoelace. So we keep digging into those hips. Another favorite one of mine. For this one, you're going to take your right knee and slide the right knee in between your hands. And you're going to walk the right foot towards the left corner of your, or the left edge, sorry, of your mat. Your left knee slides in behind the right. And your left foot goes to the right edge of your mat. I hope that makes sense. From here, you start to sink your hips down. both sitting bones into your mat, potentially elevate it with a cushion if you feel it's too deep for you. And you're kind of on the tops of your feet. So it's not the soles that are down, it's the tops of the feet that are down. I'll just turn around so you can actually see how I'm sitting. So your feet are so wide that you can sit in between, and your knees are as much as possible stacked directly on top of one another. So again, taking time to settle here. If you feel that one hip is really kind of off and elevated, then take that cushion underneath. You'll probably feel this right into your groin as well again. And here for me, again, this is a deep one. So for me, sitting up like this is already my edge. I'm tickling my edge right now. If you want to go a little bit deeper, then start to walk your hands forwards and maybe come into a fold if that feels good for you. Feel free to use cushions wherever you need them. And if this is all way too much in itself, even sitting up, then you may lean back and extend the leg that's underneath for you, so that your left leg, and you just keep the right knee bent, top of the foot down onto the mat, and then potentially folding forward. It's a completely different sensation because it takes away the stretch of the groin, but it's still a really nice one. So take your variation, settle in, find your edge, and then silence. Staying present into your physical body. What do you feel? Where can you relax and let go more? And where can you bring in that new intention? What is that new intention? Three more breaths. Knowing you're almost coming out, can you let go even deeper? And then really, really gently, and this is always the fun part, you're going to bring your hands in front of you, leaning forwards, pressing yourself up so you can step onto your feet. And then you're going to keep the feet exactly where they are. You're just going to pivot onto your toes, walking your hands around, keep pivoting onto your toes all the way until you reach the other side. I hope that went well. If it didn't, you can come in as well through your tabletop and sliding your left knee forwards, your right knee behind, however you want to make your way in. Noticing the difference between these sides. Feel free to elevate the hips if it's too intense. Keeping the hips squared. Tops of the feet down, knees is stacked. And feel free to take that folded position, that folded variation if you have the space. And then closing eyes again. Retreating back to that stillness. What would your life look like if your new intention was already true? What would be different? How would you feel? What would you see? What would you do? Three more breaths. Stay soft. And this time at the end of your last breath, bring your hands behind you so you can lean back and release the legs slowly one by one. Extend them out in front of you. And again, just shake them out. Let that energy move through those legs again. Taking any other movement that may feel good for you. And then slowly bending your knees, coming onto your belly for your rebound this time again. So you may take your other cheek this time, looking to the opposite way. Hands shoot behind you. And just relax, allowing your body to get as heavy as possible. Noticing your belly breathing against the earth, grounding. Use it to connect. And then hands back underneath your shoulders. Gently press back up through tabletop. And for our next and final pose before Shavasana, this is frog. And for frog, so you have to get off your mat completely for a moment. And you're going to flop your mat probably 3 times double, but in the length. So you have a really good cushioning here. We're going to use that for our knees. So you're going to bring your knees onto that. Hands just lightly in front of you. You're going to walk your knees out as far as possible. You already start to feel where this is going. Your hips stay kind of stacked on top of that line of your mat. Your feet turn outside. So your feet are flexed and your toes turn to the sides. And your ankles are stacked directly behind the knees, if that makes sense. So just to showcase, we're not here. You want to be here. So ankles stacked directly underneath the knees while you lay down. This is the position where you're in when you're there. Maybe take a cushion and bring that cushion underneath your face. And then start to come into your forearms. Wiggle around a bit more with the knees if you have to. And just take a few breaths here, noticing how this pose feels at all for you. And what happens if you start to tilt your tailbone a few times backwards and forwards. So you're really tilting the pelvic floor backwards, forwards, feeling different sensations probably into the hip space. And with that, just play around a little bit. Maybe gently rocking forwards, backwards as well. So at some point, you'll find your sweet spot here. And that's where you want to stay and hang for a while. So take your time to find that position. And once you've got it, just stillness. Are you still breathing through the belly? Can you lean a bit more into your sweet spot? It's one of the deepest openers into that whole pelvic floor. Giving that last bit of space for your new intentions. Three more breaths. Can you let go into those hips? Relax. And then slow as you can go, come back up onto your hands. Now coming out of this one, makes you feel like you're 85, unfortunately. So where you're going to begin with, so when you're onto your hands, just centimeter by centimeter, you're going to slide your knees back in towards one another. It's probably quite intense into your hips. Bring your feet along, knees together. And then you may want to just shake the hips out a little bit, wiggle them from side to side, whatever feels nice here. And slowly coming off your mat, flop it back out. And lay down into your back, getting ready for your final Shavasana, very well deserved. So feel free to take a cushion underneath your knees maybe to support yourself into your lower back. Maybe underneath your head. Maybe cover yourself with something warm if you feel you're cooling down. And slowly allow yourself to fully melt. Giving your feet some space. The toes falling out to the side. Hands away from the body, palms facing up, fingers just curling up naturally. Maybe let your lips part a little bit. And then imagine that you're laying on this bed of grass somewhere in beautiful nature. Your favorite spot. The grass underneath you is nice and soft. You're looking up towards a bright blue sky with just a few tiny little white clouds. The sun is shining. You're warm. And you hear the birds singing in the trees. The wind is whistling through the leaves and the flowers. And you feel yourself sinking deeper and deeper into that bed of grass. Feeling so content, soft and happy. It's all good. And you keep sinking deeper and deeper into that grass, as if it doesn't end. I was the type of person that held on to things too tight, unable to release my grip when it no longer felt right. And although it gave me blisters and my fingers would all ache, I always thought that holding on was worth the pain it takes. I used to think that in losing things, I would lose part of me too. That slowly I would become someone my heart no longer knew. Then one day something happened. I dropped what I once held dear, but my soul became much lighter instead of filled with fear. And it taught my heart that some things aren't meant to last for long. They arrive to teach you lessons and then continue on. You don't have to cling to people who no longer make you smile or do something that you've come to hate if it isn't worth your while. That sometimes the thing you're fighting for isn't worth the cost, and not everything you will ever lose is bound to be a loss. And with those words, just start to bring some movement back into your body. Any way that feels good. Maybe a good stretch overhead. Hugging knees in towards your chest. And rolling over to either side. And whenever you're ready, with your eyes closed, making your way up to a seated cross-legged position. Hands in front of your heart space. Into prayer. Bowing your forehead down towards the fingers. Saying gratitude for coming onto the mat today. Allowing the space that we've created today with letting go of the things that no longer serve us to open life up for new things to come, good things to come. Keeping that intention close to you. Wishing you an amazing rest of your evening. Namaste.